Alright, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make insulated window covers. I absolutely love these window covers. They were cheap, very easy to make, and they actually have really good insulation properties that keep the heat out on hot days, as well as keep the hot air in on cold days. I can just tell when I take them off, I can feel how much heat is behind them, as well as on a cold day like today, how much cold air it keeps from getting in. Here's a look at some windows that I already made covers for, and then I'm going to actually show you how to do it on this window. Hey, before we get started, I just want to let you know that this is actually episode 37 of Van Build Budget Pro. I've been building camper vans for over 4 years, and while working alongside industry professionals, I filmed and edited every single step to make a masterclass on how to build campers. It includes over 40 tutorials, as well as discount codes from insulation companies, solar companies, electrical companies, all totaling almost the full cost of the course itself, as well as lifetime expert consultation from me. Yes, that's right. If you have a question during your van build, which I promise you will, I check daily and will answer any kind of questions you have. A link to check out Van Build Budget Pro will be linked down below, as well as all of the products used in this tutorial. So I'm first going to take a measurement with my tape measure for the length and width of the window, and then I'm going to add about 1.5 inches to 2 inches on every side. Then I'm going to roll out my contractor paper and transfer those measurements onto it so I can make a cutout. Then once we have our piece of contractor paper cut, we're going to take some painter's tape here and actually tape it over the window. And if you notice here, there's a little bit of the counter that sticks into the window on both sides. So on this side, what I'm going to do is just pinch it down to where I need to cut and then mark it, and then just cut over to where I think the countertop's going to end. So that way, once it's cut, I can actually tuck the piece of paper up against the wall like that, and then just continue to tape all of the other areas. So once we have it up into place, then we're going to take a pencil and we're going to carefully trace out the inside of the window trim. So you can kind of feel it with your fingers where it is, but this is why we wanted to make it a little bit bigger than the window itself, so we could have some extra paper to work with and actually trace out that trim right there. Then once we bring it into the garage, I'm just going to get some more tape and tape up that piece that we cut for the counter. And I'm just going to take a straight edge and continue those lines on the left side and the bottom, so that way we can see where that corner is. And now that we have a nice outline for the window, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut out this template, and then we're going to put it on top of this sheet foam insulation. You can buy this sheet foam at Home Depot or Lowe's. They come in 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch sizes. I went with the 1/4 inch. These work great because these are literally made to insulate homes. So I'm just going to use my straight edge and a box cutter and just start to cut out the foam with the template on top. And I'm just doing light multiple passes so I don't tear any of the foam. Now that we have that cut out, I can remove the contractor paper, and then I'm just going to go put that foam up into place to make sure it fits properly. Then I'm going to start cutting this black king size sheet that I got off Amazon. And when you do your cutout, just lay it on top and then cut a couple inches around all of the edges like this. And since I want to be able to easily store these window covers, what I did is with these big pieces, I actually cut them in half so they could fold. So I laid the insulation on top of one of the cutouts from our sheet, and then I laid another piece that was the same size on top. And after lining them up so there's room around all of the edges, I'm going to first peel back this edge here and then use my hot glue gun and get hot glue right up against the sheet foam itself. And you can be kind of liberal with this stuff. I used a decent amount, so once the glue was on there, then I pulled back that piece of sheet and just kind of pressed it down firmly with my fingers so they would adhere to each other. And now that we have one side done, we're just going to do the same thing with all the other sides. So now starting on this side, I'm just going to pull back the top sheet, put some glue down, and then do the same thing. I'm going to press down firmly to adhere the two pieces of sheets. So now we have these two sides done, and I'm going to start working on this third side. Just make sure you're periodically pulling the top sheet tight so that way it looks nice and snug on the insulation. Now we're going to pull back this piece and create this middle seam where the fold is going to take place. And again, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to use the hot glue gun and then press down with our fingers. Now I again pulled back that top sheet, and now we're going to push this piece nice and snug against that second piece. And then we're just going to go around all the edges just like the first piece. And again, just periodically pull it tight so that way you have a nice firm snug fit and it looks better. And because the bed sheets are kind of thin, I actually ended up using 4 separate pieces. So I had 2 pieces of fabric on the bottom and 2 pieces of fabric on the top. So then I just took my scissors and tried to cut as close to the glue as I could so I could trim off all that excess fabric. And now we're going to use our hot glue gun and this seam hider to go around all of the edges to make it look nice. So I already cut this piece to size to fit the side of the window cover, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun and just completely cover the side of the window cover. And then I'm just pressing it right on the middle of that seam hider. So now you have a piece that looks like this, where there's just as much on the top as there is on the bottom. And then we're just going to use the hot glue gun again and just cover the inside of that seam hider and then just firmly press it down. I found it best to just work in small sections like this, but eventually you're going to work yourself all the way down to the end of the seam hider, and then you're going to flip it over and do the same thing with this side. So again, I'm just fully saturating this part with the hot glue gun and then firmly pressing it down. And once you do all 4 sides, then just take a lighter and just lightly burn all the frays of the fabric. And just like that, you have a nice insulated window cover that completely blacks out light from the inside. And here's what that window cover looks like when it's actually in the window. They're very cheap, easy to make, well-insulated blackout covers. Okay, so now you know how to make some really nice, well-insulated window covers. What's really cool about these is I can park in a neighborhood and have all my lights on and no one outside can see any. They're blackout covers. I made them for all the windows. I even made them for the front. And I made one for the windshield. It does a really good job helping with insulation, but it also helps me stealth camp.